JJ Abrams is set to bring in 8 new characters for Star Wars Episode 9, and it's leaving a lot of fans wondering exactly who we could expect to see in this movie. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, looking at everything here, we do know that both JJ Abrams and Chris Terrio are very much hard at work on developing Star Wars Episode 9. In fact, they are just about done shooting over in Jordan, and after that, apparently they will be moving on over to Ireland, California, and other locations around the world before they wrap shooting this February of 2019. Now, a lot of people have been talking about who we could expect to see in Episode 9. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been going over new details about this movie when it comes to some of the set leaks, the set designs, the concept art and storyboard descriptions, etc. One of which specifically has all to do with a Togruta character that may very well be Ahsoka Tano. Specifically, a description of Maz Kanata and some of her crew exiting her ship off of a ramp onto a very grassy world that may or may not be Lothal. Next to Maz stands a tall female Togruta, who appears to be older and sports a burgundy dress and high burgundy boots with what appears to be a cylindrical object strapped to her belt that may be a lightsaber hilt. The next goes over the character that appears to be an older Ahsoka Tano facing Chewbacca, Finn, and Poe Dameron. The color of the Togruta's montrals are the same as Ahsoka's was in Rebels Season 4, and her skin tone is nearly the same with an older appearance. So a lot of people have been wondering, is it too much to have 8 new characters coming into this movie on top of the legacy characters, which consist of Luke, Leia, and Lando, as well as the sequel characters like Kylo, Poe, Finn, Rey, etc. So with that being all done and said, we've been hearing about all these different hints here and there about Ezra Bridger, Ahsoka Tano quite possibly being involved in Episode 9. Now, I don't know how you guys feel about Star Wars Rebels content being a part of this movie. I've heard that some people really embrace and love that idea, while others think it's a terrible idea to kind of embed cartoon characters into a live-action Star Wars movie. But you know what? If you look at Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, they did the same exact thing. And they're going to be expanding off of that with future Star Wars films, it seems. They're just going to keep on expanding further and kind of getting more fans around the world very much familiar with other characters that only were in either the Clone Wars or Star Wars Rebels. Now, with Star Wars Resistance now in play, everybody's, kind of wondering if that will have an effect on Episode 9. I personally don't think so. I think that Resistance is just going to be a thing on its own. Now, we do know that JJ Abrams is implementing a lot of prequel, original trilogy content, as well as some Star Wars Rebels content in there, which could most definitely line up with Ahsoka Tano being involved in this movie. Now, could this be yet another character that's just a Togruta species that just so happens to look just like an older Ahsoka Tano? Possible, yes, but I find it very odd that there's going to be this character that does kind of mimic the character and has a lightsaber strapped to her hilt, it seems. That to me sounds like Ahsoka Tano, and I don't know about you guys, but the path that Rey is going on at the very end of The Last Jedi with the Jedi books that she takes from the tree, it seems as so that she is going to be the one to restore the Jedi Order to the way it was well before the prequel era. She could be doing something more around the ancient Jedi rules, where it's going to be a completely different and new Jedi Order that we have never seen on the big screen, and that could very well be how Episode 9 concludes. That may be a cliffhanger, is, of course, Rey creating a new Jedi Order, and then we could just take it from there, perhaps. Now, Ahsoka Tano being in Episode 9, does it really make sense? I'm not quite sure. It could make sense in the form of the Worlds Between Worlds, absolutely. We've been hearing about Kylo Ren and Rey possibly going there in Episode 9, so that could make sense. However, this version of Ahsoka, or this Togruta species character, is older, so this would tell us that this is Ahsoka Tano in present time. Now, I don't know about that species, how long they can live, or how the aging affects them. I don't really know how that works with those types of characters, but one could just assume that Ahsoka Tano probably lives longer than the normal humans in the Star Wars franchise. At least I would actually assume that. So with that being said, it's not too outlandish to say that this figure is absolutely going to be Ahsoka Tano in Episode 9. After all, it would really bring in a lot of crowds from Star Wars Rebels who really love that show, and the Clone Wars coming back with Season 8, what better way to connect it to Episode 9? We got the Clone Wars Season 8 coming out next year as well. So there's a lot really going on with the Star Wars franchise right now, after and before Episode 9, especially with The Mandalorian. That's another aspect for sure. But I would really love to hear your insight about all of this, about Ahsoka Tano. There's a big debate. A lot of people think it's a terrible idea. Some people think it's a fantastic idea by Disney and Lucasfilm. Now, we do know that Episode 9 is going to be a film that attracts all Star Wars fans on all different mediums, whether you're into video games, comics, books, novels, graphic novels, just the movies themselves. It's going to attract everybody in this movie. Could that be a big mess to some people? Perhaps. But to me, I think as long as it's well organized and well done and done at a correct pace, and maybe the movie's going to be somewhat longer than usual, I think it'll be a-okay. As long as a lot of these characters don't have all too much screen time and leave open a lot of screen time for Kylo, Rey, and others, I think it'll be fine. But I would love to hear what you guys have to say about all of this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Night to moon, we hear them moans again.